with those updates. Now, in the same NATO meeting, Donald Trump has made a comment as well on Spain. He said that US has stopped trading with Spain. They've called them hopeless and a terrible partner to NATO.
Lee, I didn't speak to Spain. Spain is a wasted cause. We don't want to do any trade business with Spain anymore, by the way. I'd like you to cut it off. Spain is a terrible partner.
Ambassador KP Fabian, former diplomat, joins us on this big story. Ambassador Fabian, the United States President launching an attack on Spain. What do you make of what he said in NATO summit?
Well, I'm listening to what you said. But you understand that, Spain is not trading with the United States bilaterally. Spain is part of the EU, and EU is trading with the United States. So I do not think that President Trump can stop trading with Spain alone. And I do not think that he can afford to stop trading with the EU. So I have a feeling, for some reason or other, Trump is in a very angry mood. And that is why he is saying all this. Let him calm down a little. I also heard what he said about Iran, that the MOU is over, that they are come, SCUM and all that. But the same Trump had said earlier that, they are great people, we can now talk to them and all that. It is quite possible, it's only my speculation, that Trump wants to make a little more money by doing some insider trading in the oil market by selling or buying paper barrels. Because in every statement he makes has an impact on the market, and since his family business knows in advance that he is going to make the statement, they do the dealing. So let us wait a little before we conclude anything.
Right.
Because I don't think Trump has a real option of receiving the war.
All right, we're getting more breaking news now, in fact, also coming in. The Spanish Prime Minister's office has responded to the US President's abrupt order to halt all trade with Spain. They've said that Madrid is treating the threats as business as usual. Our country enjoys excellent social, cultural and economic relations with the US, and it is not our intention for that to change, quote unquote. Well, this response follows remarks from Trump on the sidelines of the NATO summit in Ankara, Turkey, where he told reporters he had ordered US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to immediately cut off all trade and commercial ties with Spain. Ambassador KP Fabian, former diplomat, is with us on this story. Ambassador Fabian, Spain has issued their first reaction to what Donald Trump said on the sidelines of the NATO summit. Ambassador Fabian, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What did Spain say?
Spain has said, sir, that they're treating these threats as usual, and they have a very good relationship, be it people-to-people ties, cultural ties, social ties, economic ties with the US, and it is not their intention for that to change.
That means Spain is playing it cool and diplomatically instead of retorting to Trump. And that's the best way to handle it. As I said, America is trading with the European Union, not with Spain or Holland.
Thank you, Ambassador Fabian, for being with us with your perspective. A unique initiative aimed at supporting the families of cancer patients has been launched at the Kalyan Singh Super Speciality Cancer Institute in Lucknow. RAVC Foundation, in partnership with the hospital and Sharda Welfare Society, has started Apni Thali, a nightly dinner program for attendance of admitted cancer patients. On its very first day, the initiative served warm, nutritious meals to 360 family members, surpassing initial expectations. Built on the philosophy of sharing, not charity, the program invites a voluntary contribution of just ₹1, ensuring that every meal is served with dignity and respect while easing the burden on families caring for their loved ones. In fact, Rohit Pandey, Director, RAVC Foundation, joins us on this big initiative. Rohit, thank you for being with us today on NewsX. What inspired RAVC Foundation to launch this Apni Thali initiative, And do you feel that attendance of patients are often overlooked?
Thank you so much. So for us, RAVC Foundation has been formed by RAVC. We are a solar EPC company, and we work on 6 pillars. The first of which is food security, because we believe that a person who's on an empty stomach cannot really be motivated to do other things in life. An empty stomach, is a disabler. And it's not only that, it also affects the dignity and self-esteem of the individual affected. So food security is our very first pillar, and that's actually what inspired Apni Thali. Because as we went around doing work, we've been doing this unofficially over the last 1 year. It is only very recently that we formalized the program into Apni Thali, and we realized that people who are taking care of their loved ones, undergoing a long-term treatment in the hospitals, very often end up compromising on their own well-being, their own care. And the first thing, especially when they are hard-pressed for money, the first thing they compromise on is food, which has negative consequences not only for them, but also for the person that they're caring for, their family member that they're caring for. So that's where we started. We do not think that healthcare has overlooked the attendants, but every system has its limitations. The first and the primary role of the healthcare system is to deliver good health, deliver a disease-free life to the affected person, and that's what I think the government across the country, governments across the country have been doing a
Yes.
lot of work around that. And we see our effort as we see Apni Thali as a supplementary effort to what the government and our doctors and hospitals are already doing.
Okay.
They are taking care of the patients, and while we cannot really, end the disease, we can definitely take care of those who are taking care of the patients.
Right. And what impact do you hope that Apni Thali will have on families battling cancer over the long term? Do you also have plans to expand Apni Thali to other hospitals in Uttar Pradesh or across the country?
So we are hoping for 2 impacts on a patient and caregiver level. What we are hoping for, and what we are also seeing in terms of feedback from the families, is that it creates a sense of well-being, because that one healthy, hygienic, nutritious, and tasty meal that reaches every family member at the end of a long and tiring day is, it creates a moment of joy. And that is why we call it Muskan ki thali, Swabhiman ki thali, Samman ki thali, because it creates that moment of joy in their day when they can actually look forward to a warm, healthy meal. And overall, that leads to the betterment of the cancer patient also, because they know that their family, in amidst all of these troubles, is being taken care of, by the system. The other impact that we are hoping for is that, while we are going to expand, we are already actually catering lunches by rotation across 5 hospitals and dinner every day at the Kalyan Singh Institute. What we are hoping for is we will expand to more hospitals, but we can also hopefully inspire other organizations in other cities and states to come forward and launch similar programs for the hospitals in their local areas. And through we would like to put out the word that if any organization is interested, we would be very happy to share our learnings in terms of how we went about putting together this whole program under a qualified chef, a dedicated kitchen, a dedicated distribution team. How we have done all of that, we would be very happy to share those lessons with anyone who's interested to start something similar.
Okay. Now, we're told that day one itself of your initiative launching saw 360 people being served. And I believe that exceeded expectations. Is that correct? Also, what impact now are you hoping that this initiative is going to have on families battling cancer over the long term as you scale up?
So we were all very, very surprised, by the turnout that we had. The hospital administration expected 200, and we were in the range of 200 to 250 for day one. But that day itself saw 360 people, come to us, and that number has held steady and in fact grown a bit since then. And what we are hoping for is that the cancer patients, especially people who are coming, from smaller districts, from rural areas, who already are sort of burdened by the disease, the prognosis, the whole battle that one goes through in fighting cancer. For them, this will lead to a system which is very holistic, which is caring for them in every possible way. And I would be amiss if I do not thank, the leadership, the director, Dr. MLB Bhatt, and his colleagues and leadership team at the Kalyan Singh Cancer Institute, who have been very progressive in terms of their thinking. They have been very open, and they're partnering with other organizations as well to make sure that a patient's family who's recuperating in the hospital, they are, or the patient's family who's staying in the hospital for the treatment, are taken care of in the best possible and in all possible ways. So I must express thanks and gratitude to them for giving us this opportunity, and we are really hoping that while we cannot eliminate the disease yet, there are scientists at work doing that. We can definitely help make the journey a little smoother and better for all those who are affected.
Thank you very much, Rohit Pandey, for speaking with us, and wishing you and all those at RAVC Foundation all the very best in doing this very good work that you are. Let's take a short break. On that note, much more coming up.
हमें पता है